again, based on some information from your documents that were sent to us in 2008 and looking at your website, we found that there's over 300 individual vulnerable occupants living in Lambton Shores. People with special needs, people living in retirement or nursing homes, people living in group homes. Those are the ones that were clearly identified. The establishing and regulating bylaw doesn't reference any fire prevention or education activities whatsoever. And it's also important with your establishing and regulating bylaw that if you determine that a service is going to be there, i.e. water rescue, silo rescue, that you fund and provide the services to the fire department, that they have it. They have the training, and they know what it is exactly they're getting into. The Fire Protection and Prevention Act also talks about what a fire chief is. And it says if a fire department is established in a municipality, the council shall appoint a fire chief. Further, a fire chief is a person who is ultimately responsible to the council of the municipality that appointed him or her for the delivery of fire protection services. And fire protection services includes fire suppression, fire prevention, fire safety education, communications, training, rescue and emergency services, and delivery of all those services. Again, your current bylaw needs an updating in that regard. We also wanted to talk quickly about a report that was submitted to us or provided to us, where there was some concern about the former chief administrative officer and his administrative rights and duties that he was doing. Clearly, this act indicates that he was not the fire chief, and that the 5 individuals that you named as the fire chief are the fire chiefs. If you wish to, if the CEO, if it's a desire of council to have the CEO provide some administrative assistance to those fire chiefs, that's your decision. But the fire chief are those 5 individuals that you were appointed by bylaw to be your fire chiefs. Further, the Fire Protection Prevention Act talks about what the fire chief's duties are. And clearly the fire chief is the chief fire official. And the chief fire official refers to the fire code, the regulation part of the act. And the chief fire official is the one person who is responsible for approving certain things, such as fire safety plans. All your vulnerable occupancies require fire safety plans. This building that we're sitting in requires a fire safety plan. Your fire chief is the one person who is delegated by authority to do that. Further, all fire chiefs are assistants to the fire marshal by virtue of their appointment. So that means that they can conduct inspections and carry out inspections for the purposes of the fire code. And those authorities are very, I don't want to say liberal, but much more broader than police services have. Under the Fire Prevention and Protection Act, I can never get those 2 words straight for some reason. They have the ability to knock on someone's door at any reasonable hour to conduct an inspection. Police officer can't go knock on the door and ask for an inspection. He's got to get a warrant to do that. So very strong authorities to do that. The other thing that we noted is that you have some agreements with your neighbors. And the Act provides, under 3 sections there, the fact that you can have an agreement with your municipality, with a neighbor. You can have an automatic aid agreement, which is the sending of the closest fire department or station into an adjacent municipality through a type of agreement, and that you can participate in mutual aid. And mutual aid really requires a bylaw for you to participate in. We noted in some of the earlier correspondence that when you became the new municipality, that current agreements that were in place at that time weren't to be changed or altered. And there was some form of an agreement for mutual aid. We don't really recognize that as being a mutual aid agreement. Mutual aid should be done by bylaw, allowing your municipal fire departments to participate in mutual aid for Lambton County and for the province of Ontario. We also noted that you referenced fire boards. And fire boards are not recognized under the Fire Protection and Prevention There's nowhere where we say there's a fire board or its duties. Any type of board is subject to your decisions, your discussions, your determinations. If we go back 25, 30 years ago or longer, when municipalities were struggling to get the fire services and it wasn't an easy way for them to combine their services, they did have fire boards. We are finding that fire boards are disappearing. Municipal fire department or municipalities are taking control of their fire department because it's municipality's responsibility, not a fire board's responsibility as to what occurs. And they're selling their services or coming to agreements with their neighbors who require the services that they wish to provide to them. We know that some of you have attended these Essentials of Municipal Fire Protection seminars we've done in the past. We'd be more happy and pleased to do more if you feel it necessary in your area. Generally, we try to have approximately 20 participants attend one of these. Originally, when we did this program, we designed it for municipal officials and the senior management of municipalities. We then created one for fire chiefs and officers and fire departments. And we've since combined them and made them one presentation because we feel that it's important that the fire chiefs and municipal officials and the senior municipal leaders are all in one room listening to the same story or the same information. Just as I'm doing it here today. We feel that that's very important to do. So quickly in summary, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions afterwards, you might want to consider the makeup of your municipal fire service. We're not going to tell you you need to do one thing or another. It's, again, your decision. From a business standpoint, probably easier if you had one fire department. You're going to be dealing with one budget, one fire chief, one set of guidelines, one set of equipment purchases, whatever the case is. You do need to look at your core services. You do need to update your establishing a regulating bylaw. You do need to review your simplified risk assessment and update that. And you should look at developing an organizational chart for your fire departments. Some of the information that we had in our files indicated you have different names for some of the positions within your own fire departments. Some stations had engineers, some had captains of training and prevention. They're all over. Everyone was uniquely different, which is fine, as long as you understand that it's the service that you provide. We respectfully suggest that you look at your agreements with your neighbors that you're providing service to. And we respectfully suggest that it would be imperative that your fire chiefs, if you decide to keep them as independent departments, all have one standard operating guideline for all activities. Something that council has approved, because guidelines need to be approved by the council. They're not approved by others.
You just did that.
Good. And you might want to consider the name of your committee. Is it really the Lambton Shores Fire Board, or is it a committee of council? And remove that fire board designation that seems to be in perhaps muddying the water a little bit. And with that, Mayor, I'm quite pleased to answer any questions that anyone may have. I know we didn't cover all the questions that were floated back and forth to us.
Okay, thank you. Just in regards to the fire board or the committee, it's in the name because it is members of council that are on the fire board. It's councilors, whether that's a committee or whether that's a board, it is council, and they make recommendations to council and council approves them. So it is council that has the say. We can look at all that. Are there any questions from any members of council? Councilor Russell.
Well, I'll start with that. Committee of council. It's really it's a name, right? As long as our hierarchy and our policies and procedures under bylaw support what the mayor just explained, whether we call it a fire board or nothing is really irrelevant. Correct?
It is to a certain extent. I understand
that's the point I'm missing.
Yeah, you have others sitting on your fire board.
Yes.